Okay, continuing, America is the old true world. This is where we left off from the last upload. The Americas is India superior and the Orient east. Here is a statue of the goddess Yamuna, see figure 29, standing on a turtle shell, Turtle Island, aka the Americas, which is more evidence that India superior, Asia major, was in North America, aka the Orient, in parentheses, the true East, because goddess Yamuna is a Hindu Indian goddess. Why is the statue of the goddess Yamuna good evidence? Well, because the Americas was known as Turtle Island. This is a known fact because the American landmass looks like a turtle from the sky. See figure 30. Goddess Yamuna was the wife of Krishna, the Indian Christ, and she symbolizes Eve or Isis, which is the Kundalini energy that must be raised up the 33 spinal vertebrae to resurrect the sleeping mummy, in parentheses, the pineal gland, Christ, Krishna, Osiris, in the king's chamber, which is your mind, which is the black dot, the Kaaba, Mount Meru, that lays in the center of your brain, called the pineal gland, aka the third eye or the master gland. Goddess Yamuna symbolizes the Mother Mary principle of love. Also, here is a map from the year 1625 of the Americas being described as India and the Orient from Stanford University, or from the Stanford University Library, by Herrera y Tordesillas, or Tordesillas, I believe is how you pronounce that. The L's are pronounced like Y's in Spanish, if I'm not mistaken. Herrera y Tordesillas, Antonio de 1625. Please click the link of this or on this map so you can zoom in and see. You know, I tried to click on these. Let's see if it works. And it didn't work last time. It says the page you're looking for doesn't exist. So maybe it'll show them when we scroll down. Here's another map of the Americas being described as India and the Orient from the Stanford University Library by Lucchini Antonio Francesco from 1605 and Dudley Robert Sir, 1574 through 1694. Please click on this link of the map so you can zoom in and see the description of India and the Orient on the banner that is down towards the bottom center of this map. And this was another one. I tried to open it and it just didn't work, so I'm not sure. Also, here's a map, 1625. The Americas being described as India and the Orient from Stanford University. Again, okay, let's see. Yeah, nothing. Can't get it to work there. I also tried to copy or open it in the new tab and then copy this whole URL, but it still wouldn't show up. So I know some of the maps are also just included in the PDF as we scroll through, so maybe they're down lower. Also, here's a Macrobius 440 map of India being located in Mexico. The geographer Macrobius made a map for Roman merchants that shows the location of the principal western seacoasts of Florida and Mexico. See figure 31. This map is very significant because it is more evidence that India is the oldest civilization, because civilization came from the Yucatan Peninsula, according to the information I already gave in this book. Christopher Columbus, the Spanish conquerors, called us Indians because the American landmass was once known as India. I have to agree with our Spanish Roman conquerors because they should know the name of the people that they took everything from. I'm just saying. Also, the old maps don't lie, and they are strong evidence as to the fact that the Americas was once India. This makes sense, too, when you read the book India Once Ruled the Americas by Gene Matlock. Additionally, in medieval times, the civilized world was known, or was once known, as the three Indies or the three Ethiopias, which included the Americas, Eurasia, and Africa. Here is one of those maps. And yeah, so this is over here. It says India Superior right there. Can you see it right there? India Superior. And it looks like that right there was where Florida. So I guess this is what Atlantis looked like before it all got wiped out. Figure 16, this is a 1548 Spanish map of the world. The map was taken from the book entitled The Journey of Coronado. As you can see, Indian Superior and La China was in the North America. This map is evidence that the West is actually the Far East, aka the Orient. Here's a cover of The Journey of Coronado from the 1500s. This book, or this is the book cover from the book entitled The Journey of Coronado. The book displays the 1569 Mercator world map, which shows India Superior being in North America. This is evidence that the Americas is the old world, because the Americas is the Orient. This book has an even older world map inside of it called the 1548 Spanish World Map, see figure 16, which shows you India Superior as La China, in parentheses, the China, being in North America. Okay, here's another one of the maps. This is an unknown map of the Arctic North Pole. And as you see Eden and Meru right there, the Bible lists 4 rivers in association with the Garden of Eden. And you can see 4 rivers and the black cube, the Kaaba, in the center of the lake, where the rivers emanate from. That represents the tree of life in the Garden of Eden. Here's another map with the Polus Arcticus, that says, and the Hyperborea, or Hyperborean. Figure 19. This is 1597 map by Abraham Ortelius of Amsterdam, showing the Hyperborea, or Hyperborea Mu, in the Arctic North Pole. I believe this map is much older because the land is not divided yet. You can also see that Atlan, which is Atlantis, was in the American region on this map, which is another map that verifies that the Americas was Atlantis. Here's another map again of the North Pole with the 4 rivers right there. See it right there. This 1595 Mercator map of the Arctic North Pole. Notice Mount Meru, which is black, or is the black magnetic mountain at the center in the lake, which is our magnetic North Pole. The sacred symbols of Mu, and that is the swastika, or where we get the swastika from. This is the sacred symbol of Meru, Mary. This symbol is the key to the universal movement. Universal movement, as in a clockwise spiral rotation, generates electromagnetic energy. The same energy creates life and maintains life. This is tablet 1584 from Niven's collection, showing a woman as a physical representation of Mount Meru. Okay, yeah, they talked about this in the other video I uploaded reading this, but these tablets they discovered were supposedly just written off as a hoax because they disrupted the mainstream historical narrative. Here is another photo showing the movements of the Big Dipper constellation, how it spirals around the North Star, which is where we get the swastika symbolism. This is the zodiac wheel, aka the swastika that revolves around the North Pole, aka the Great Mother Mu. The pole North Star is so bright that it looks like a cross figure. Or excuse me, it looks like a cross, and then figure 24 gives you a better illustration. Yes, the cross and the swastika go together because they work together and form the same system. This is the pole star, the North Star, It is the highest star and one of the brightest stars. It also resembles a Christian cross. The stars revolve around the North Star. Here's some more swastika symbolism. This is from the Niven tablets, the group of 20 cross tablets. Each cross is a representation of Mount Meru. And here's some more pictures of that. It says right here, the outside circle around the cross, the universe, the Naga collective symbol of the sun as Ra, Uyghur glyph which reads, the builder, pillar, geometrician, architect, king, steps to the throne, heaven, triangle, completed. This is from the Niven tablets. Ancient symbols of the sacred four. Each cross represents Mount Meru. Yes, the cross and the swastika have the same origin. Here's one of those Olmec heads that you can actually see this down at the Museum of Anthropology in Mexico City. I went and visited. I actually took a photo standing right next to this thing when I was down there. It says this is the image of an Olmec head. The phenotype is undoubtedly that of a blackamoor, and the headdress resembles a fez. I guess that's the back of the head, showing the fez. This is the back of the Olmec headdress. You can see several tassels. European scholars associate Egypt with being the Orient. The term Orient means east. It's giving us a Wikipedia link here. Okay. Is the East really the West? Well, let's look at some evidence to decide. The Dragon King priest, Messiah, Black Panther, Quetzalcoatl was known as the morning star in the East, which is Venus, love. Jesus was also known as the bright morning star, which is Venus. Quetzalcoatl was, of course, one of the chief gods of Mesoamerica, so this means that America is the true East. Figure 29, this is the Kundalini goddess Yamuna. She is the wife of the Krishna Christ. The Great Turtle Island. Okay, so now it's showing us the turtle and then the map of what is today known as United States of America, Canada, Mexico, and Central America. What do you think? Does it look like a turtle? This is an unknown map of the Americas as a turtle island. As you can see, the landmass is shaped like a giant turtle, so the name Turtle Island is fitting. Macrobius. This is the 440 map. Showing Florida here. India. A Roman map of Florida. This is a Macrobius 440 map of India. As you can see, Mexico was once known as India. The geographer Macrobius made a new map for Roman merchants that showed the location of the principal western seacoasts of Florida and Mexico. More evidence that the West is the true East is the Moor King and the Orient East. Figure 32 shows you a painting from 1703 by two European artists, Christoph Weigel the Elder and Caspar Lucan, that was in the Orient East, which is the Americas. Scholars used to call Egypt the Orient to try to separate Egypt from Africa. Likewise, the artist called America the Orient because the American landmass was once known as the farthest Indies, which used to be common knowledge back in the 1700s. The painting is called Moorish King of the Orient. Notice the featherhead crown on the Moors, notice the featherhead crown the Moor is wearing in the photo, which indicates that the painting is that of an American Indian chief that was seen over here in the Americas in the 1700s. This is also evidence that the people of the American landmass called themselves Moors, and also Indians, which is India. What's also interesting is that Oriental means Western scholar who studies Islam according to the book Orientalism by Edward Said. More evidence that the West is the true East is this ancient map from 1548, which shows you the Orient, because the ancient map indicates that India Superior was in North America, and so was La China. Yes, India and China was in the North America. Look at how big Florida used to be. Okay, there's the guy with the headdress. This is the Moor King of the Orient. The palm trees indicate the Americas. The bow and arrows and the feathers is custom of the Moors. The Moors Berber Indians from the Americas. And then it says here, the America is the true East because the Euphrates River is in North America. The Americas is indeed the Old World because the Euphrates River is in America, according to this scholarly article by renowned historian and author Angela Van Halen. Local Sites, Foreign Sites, a sailor's sketchbook of human and animal curiosities in early modern Amsterdam. Anthropology and Aesthetics, spring 2004. Let's see if we can look at this really quick. This preview cannot be safely displayed. Okay, let me hang on one second. Let me see if I can open this in a new tab. 1 second. Okay, so we're looking at, again, the sketchbook, a sailor's sketchbook of human and animal curiosities. Well, let's see what this is. That looks kind of, what kind of animal do you think that is? Figure 2 says Jan Velten Tapper with young Gouache, Gouache, Gouache. It looks like it says Gucci, but I don't think it's Gucci like the brand. I think it might be pronounced differently. A painting in Wandrin de Nature, California in the 1700s. Okay, let's keep going here. These like weird looking like elephant creatures here. Well, looks like some lions or some tigers. What is this one? Okay, this one's pretty short. This PDF is pretty short, so I'm just going to kind of keep scrolling through it and see what we find here. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but I'm just going to look at the pictures. Figure 9, a woman with elephantiasis legs and 6 toes. Okay. All right, back to our original PDF here. If you go to page 259 of the said PDF link and look at the paragraph that is referencing the footnote 18, you will see where they had caught a tapir, a now extinct species, in the river Euphrates in America. The article goes on by saying that this is probably an error because the river Euphrates is far from America. Well, there is no error because we know that the Americas is the land of the Bible and the Old World, as you will discover later when you read the Americas is the Promised Land chapter. Atlantis was a colony of India Superior. This makes sense because one of the meanings of Atlantis is the people of Lord Shiva, which was a deity associated with a 3-pronged pitchfork. Additionally, Atlanteans are associated with underworld people that carried a 3-pronged pitchfork, which symbolizes the Trinity. Shiva, of course, an ancient Hindu Indian god that has a 3-pronged pitchfork. Ethiopia and India were often confused. One and the same, according to the book, The Medieval Empire of the Israelites by Robert Grishin. This makes sense because when you factor into account that the swastika, symbol of Brahma Abraham, which means black spirit, was the chief religious symbol in ancient Ethiopia and in India. The swastika is just a reflection of Mount Meru. Also, Figure 31, which is an old map showing you that Mexico, Central America, and South America was once known as India. This map is very significant because the Eye of Atlantis, according to Gene Matlock, see Figure 14, was in Mexico. Mexico is actually ancient India according to the evidence, so yes, Atlantis and all civilizations are a colony of India because civilization came from the Yucatan Peninsula via Maya Indians, as I have already previously demonstrated in Chapter 1 of this book. India Superior, the Americas, is the oldest civilization. This YouTube video by Lifting the Veil is evidence that civilization started in India. All right, let's give this video a watch. I remember this YouTuber. Video unavailable because the YouTube account associated with has been terminated. Now that sucks. They probably banned him. I remember this guy's YouTube channel, Lifting the Veil. His name was Colin, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if we can find... Maybe he's on Rumble. I thought it was this guy, Lifting the Veil. Okay, maybe it's a different one. I thought it might have been this dude, but I guess they might have been talking about a different account that went by Lifting the Veil. I'm not sure. Okay, we'll see if we can find it later. The name of the video is Mind-Blowing Occult Sanskrit Hebrew Etymology Symbolism. Hang on, let's see if we can Vedic origin. Okay, let me copy this and see if I can search it in YouTube and maybe it got re-uploaded somewhere. Okay, I think this is it. I think I found it. Maybe this is it. How long is this? It's 40 minutes long. So I'm gonna watch like 5 minutes of it.
Of all the world's languages, roads lead to India. India is the birthplace of language, mathematics, religion, and it's the cradle of the human race. All roads lead to India. Sanskrit is the mother of all the world's oldest living languages. NASA scientists declare that Sanskrit is the most pure of all the world's languages. Sanskrit is the sacred language of ancient pre-Brahmin Hinduism, and it's also the source of European languages and even English. Contrary to what Western scholars and archaeologists claim, India is the cradle of mankind, and it's from India the geography of the planet was first explored and settled by. The Mayans, the Aztecs, the Egyptians, the Phoenicians, Aboriginals called Indians, all have their origin in India. The ancient world was once ruled by India, and that's a provable fact. An in-depth presentation of this study can be found on my blog in 55 chapters. This will be a mere breakdown of the most important keys that unlocks the true origin of Judaism and Christianity, and clears the fog as to the real origins of world history being withheld by the rulers who are shaping our matrix through deception. They do not want you to know what I'm about to present because your mind will be less apt to be controlled by them within their propaganda matrix. Knowledge is power, and it's knowledge that breaks the chains over men's minds and takes them out of the cages of other men. In Hinduism, the goddess Kali is the consort or wife of the Hindu deity Shiva. Temples to Kali can be found in Mexico, South America, and place names in North America such as California. The Mesoamerican Southwest of the United States is riddled with location names honoring the Hindu goddess Kali. Temples such as Teocalli in Mexico and cities such as Calliquin are named after the Hindu goddess Kali. The name Kali is used for Israel in Hebrew, such as Kal Israel, which means all Israel. The name Kali can be found in Islam, such as in the name Caliphate. Maya is a goddess consort of Shiva in Hinduism. The Mayans are named after this Hindu goddess. Kundalini is a well-known Hindu name, and Kundalini is a South American agricultural goddess of the Aztecs. Aboriginals in North and South America are referred to as Indians, and the identification with India obvious. In Egypt, the Sphinx at Giza is the effigy of Simha, the man-lion incarnation of Vishnu in Hinduism. The Hindu god Shiva was worshipped in Egypt as the god Seb or Geb. The name Seb is a shortened form of Seba, Saba, and Sheba, which are all names for Shiva. The stelae, pillars, and pyramids which mark the Giza Plateau are called Matsaba in Hebrew. The cognate for the name Shiva is found in the word Matsaba. The Old Testament scriptures is filled with Sanskrit names to Hindu deities. The earliest patriarchs of the Old Testament named people and places after Hindu deities. The goddess Asura in Hinduism becomes the consort of Yahweh in the Old Testament as Ashura. Brahma is a Hindu god whose name is found all over the Old Testament.
Okay, that's 5 minutes in. I think you get the point. If you want to look that up, you know where to find it now if you want to watch the whole video. All right, let's continue through this last part here. It says, note, the video I just shared about India being the oldest civilization is correct, but it failed to specify that it was the Mayan Indians and not the Indians from Hindustan that actually civilized the world. I understand that I need more evidence than a video to prove that India is the old civilization. However, the evidence has to be respected because the topic deals with etymology, and the author of the video gives respected authorities to support his work. Evidence to support this YouTube video is the books Hindu America by Shaman Lal, India, Cradle of Cultures by Shaman Lal, and Graham Hancock's documentary Hindu India, The Birth of Civilization. If there is a country on earth which can justly claim the honor of having been the cradle of human race, or at least the scene of primitive civilizations, the successive developments of which carried into all parts of the ancient world and brought beyond the blessings of knowledge, which is the second life of man, that country is assuredly India. A quote from Encyclopedia Britannica. Gene Matlock, in his book, India Once Ruled the Americas, explained that Sanskrit roots of the vocabulary and even the tribal names of many North and South American Indians. It seems that Native Americans really are, at least to some significant degree, either of Indian descent or greatly influenced by India. The Mayas were the Nagas Nigas that took the serpent wisdom from the Americas and into India, Egypt, and Mesopotamia. Evidence to support this fact can be found in Queen Mu and the Egyptian Sphinx by Augustus L. E. Plogion. In the appendix are presented for the first time in modern ages the cosmogonic notions of the Mayas rediscovered by me. They will be found identical with those other civilized nations of antiquity. In them are embodied of the secret doctrines communicated in their initiations to the adepts in India, Chaldea, Egypt, and Samothracia, the origin of the worship of the cross, of that the tree and the serpent, of the tree and of the serpent, introduced in India by the Nagas, who raised such a magnificent temple in Cambodia, in the city of Angkor Thom, to their god, the seven-headed serpent, the Chapat of the Mayas, and afterward carried its worship to the Akkad and to Babylon. I think that's the Akkadian. The Akkadians, the Assyrians, Babylonians, where we get all the Anunnaki stuff that I always talk about. Prince Maya took the serpent wisdom into over 20,000 years ago, according to the Ramayana and the book The Lost Continent of Mu by James Churchward. One prominent figure in the Naga and Maya Empire in India was Prince Maya. The time of Prince Maya is doubtful. Although I have come across many records about him, not a single one even estimates the date when he lived. But according to traditions, and those traditions as plentiful as leaves on the tree, Prince Maya lived 15,000 to 20,000 years ago. In Ramayana, we find this reference to him. In olden times, there was a prince of the Nagas whose name was Maya. Prince Maya was the author of the Surya Siddhanta and the Horiest treatise on astronomy and India. Its age has been variously estimated at from 10,000 to 22,000 years. At the time of Prince Maya, the Nagas were an empire. The Maya Naga took the serpent wisdom into Burma, India, over 30,000 years ago, according to the book The Garden of the Elder Gods by M. Don Shorn. An overview of such regional centers will commence with Asia, where one of the early academics was evidently located in ancient Burma, which is modern-day Myanmar. According to the Indian historian Valmiki, Burma was the first settlement in Asia, with some records supposedly dating its cultural startings around 33,000 BC. So actually 30,000 BC, that aligns right with when the Emerald Tablets of Thoth was supposedly written. Records from other diverse cultures states that extensive instructions was dispensed throughout Burma prior to its disposal into other lands. Such graduates eventually migrated eastward into China and southeastward into Thailand and Cambodia, as well as westward into an uninhibited part on northwestern India. In those areas, human graduates and a few helpers that accompanied them taught human natives they encountered. Those regional teachers became known as the Nagas. Certain ancient tablets found in Burma have been directly linked with Naga records found in India. Writings by Valmiki expressly stated the Maya, starting from the land of their birth in the east, went first to Burma and there taught the natives, who became known as the people of the Nagas. The original indigenous cultures of India is thought to be that of the Danavas, the Nagas, who were later called the Nakals and still later became known as the Maya, reportedly imparted their culture. However, Colonel Churchward claimed that the original or earliest people were actually the Maya, perhaps a reference to the ancient ones, or the pure-blooded human like lunar Pitris that compromised the group known as the Helpers. Valmiki further claimed that the Naga came to be called the Maya in certain later settlements, accounting for the overall confusion of the chronological order of introduction between the Naga, Danavas, Nakals, and Maya. Some records resolve this linguistic dispute by referring to the earliest civilizers as the Naga Maya. There are further indications, although inconclusive, that the Naga Maya may have also been associated with the Mayans of Mesoamerica. Ancient records indicate that the original Naga Maya were associated with the serpent people, the esoteric non-human race of wondrous beings that reportedly possessed immense cosmic wisdom. The serpent symbol was one of ancient icons, specifically referring to the ancient ones. Hence, the Naga emblem became the serpent or the cobra symbol of ancient India, one revered as signifying both great wisdom and immense knowledge. One of the prominent Naga Empire leaders was the original Prince Maya, with a later namesake or counterpart also existing during much later times. No written record established from the time frame from the original prince, but oral traditions placed him as living between 18,000 and 13,000 BC. The Ramayana merely refers to the original Prince Maya as living old times. That original prince is credited as the true source of most the esoteric knowledge on India passed down over the ages, which was later contained in the Surya Siddhanata. I believe is how you pronounce that. According to the book Queen Mo and the Egyptian Sphinx by Augustus L. E. Plagian, Mayak and not India is the true mother of nations. The Mayas called their land Mayak. The Mayas were the Mayan Indians, so Mayak has to be referring to the Americas, specifically Mesoamerica, because the Mayans came from the said region. The question is often asked, of what practical utility can the knowledge that America was possibly the cradle of man's civilization be to mankind? To some, of but little use truly, but many there are who would be glad to know the origin of man's primitive traditions, recorded in sacred books in the shape of myths or legends, and what were the incidents that served as a basis on which has been raised the fabric of the various religions that have existed and do exist among men. These have among men, have been and still are the cause of so many wars, dissensions, and persecutions. This knowledge would also serve to disclose the source whence emanated all those superstitions that have intellectual and moral progress, and to free his mind from all such trammels and make known the fact that Mayak, not India, is the true mother of nations. Perhaps also will be felt the necessity of recovering the libraries of the Maya sages, hidden about the beginning of the Christian era, to save them from destruction at the hands of the devastating hordes that invaded their counter in those times, and learn from their contents the wisdom of the ancient philosophers, of which that preserved in the books of the Brahmins is but the reflection. That wisdom was no doubt brought to India and from there carried to Babylon and Egypt in very remote ages by those Maya adepts, the Nakal, the exalted, who starting from the land of their birth as missionaries of religion and civilization went to Burma, where they became known as Nagas, established themselves in the Deccan, whence they carried all over the earth. Okay, we're going to take a break there. and continue in another upload.